that truck her cat, and she will always know the vibrational match of one another because it's an authentic vibration. And that when you look at the what, how do I want to take this? I want to transition into this. What I was thinking about today when I said earlier about Mercury being in retrograde and that I was a little bit, out of focus and things. One of the things I kept coming up with was my feelings. That I feel like part of me was that my feelings are such a so hard to express sometimes, and other times are so clear, and that feelings are our emotional. Our emotions and feelings are our direct antenna with our higher self and with our spiritual essence, and that emotions actually come from the vibration of the heart, and the authentic emotions too. And if you're when you're in your authenticity, in your vibration, you always have a vibrational match to anything else that is authentic. And let's see if I'm making sense here. In other words, when Gail just separated from physical form, separated from her cat, him leaving physical form, she separated physically from him, but the vibration that she experienced through the love and the emotion that she shared with her animal, that will always exist. And that any time she thinks about that animal or sends energy out to that animal's essence will respond back, whether she's allowing herself to feel that or not. It does happen. It happens in the physical world and it happens in the non-physical world. We're never disconnected from that from which we were created, nor are we ever disconnected from one another, nor the archetypes from other experiences that we have been or will continue to be. We're always available from an authentic vibrational match. Am I making any sense at all?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. Look at the guys going, okay, y'all stay with me here. um, anyway, and one of the things that reminds me of is that, and I may have told this story once before, but since we're talking about it, and I brought Pat up tonight, and I didn't really know I was going there, was that when I first connected with my mother-in-law after she died, there were two different things that happened, and I think I've told one of them on the air, is that a psychic was actually holding the space for me, a healer, and she actually started telling me things like, there's a woman here named Patty, and she wants to touch your face. And Pat, my mother-in-law, would always touch my face and say or she'd always look at me and go, "You have the most beautiful lips, or the most beautiful eyebrows." And I used to think it was odd. We'd be in conversation and she'd comment on my face. I used to think, is she listening to me? But she was an artist, and that's what she did. And once she was deceased, the healer I was working with basically said that there's a woman here, her name is Patty, and she showed me her painting on a fence, which I knew right away Patty was an artist, and that she said that she wants me to put my hands on your face, and she wants me to tell you, and she's like, "Oh my goodness, you have the most beautiful lips." And I started laughing because I was like, oh, it's Patty. Well, that was the first experience, but the second experience was I was actually lying in bed sleeping, and when I was awakened because I had the sense that someone was there, and when I woke up, I looked over to the side of my bed where I felt the energy, and what I saw were these legs, and the legs had on a pair of slippers, and they were crossed, and then there was a light green nightie that I could see at the thigh, and I just went up as far as the hips, and I didn't see anything else. But I was looking at these feet and these legs and this hip and this nightie, and I was thinking, whoa, why do I know that? And then I started laughing. I was like, oh my gosh, Pat. And one of the things she loved was that in high school, all of her friends called her legs, because she thought she did have pretty legs, and she always liked her legs. And one of the ways we used to sit around for hours, and I used to laugh thinking she would never get dressed, because she loved to sit with her coffee cup with those legs crossed, swinging her leg, and talking, and she'd wear that little green nightie with the matching robe, and that's what she had on. And when I saw that and I felt the vibration, my immediate reaction was to just cry. And I cry every single time I connect with someone that I've loved that's passed on. It doesn't matter how often I connect with your loved ones or my loved ones, or we connect it for you so that you connect with them. It doesn't matter. I always find myself getting emotional about it. And there we go, back to that word about emotions. I feel like I'm going in circles tonight, but I know where I'm going. We'll see if y'all do. I wanted to talk to you about emotions and vibrations, because when I was a little girl, one of the things that was predominantly pointed out to me over and over and over again was that I was too emotional, that I was high maintenance, that it took one adult for Leanne and the other one adult for the other three children, um, that my emotions were something that obviously made other people uncomfortable. Now, of course, I don't remember myself as being, I remember myself as being emotional because I think I am a very emotional being. I feel very emotional. But I didn't think of myself as out of control emotionally. I know I never threw tantrums or anything. I just have always emoted. I respond to the things I experience in my life with emotions. And then as I grew older, I began to feel like something was wrong with me because the adults in my life, some of the adults in my life, seemed to think that me being emotional was wrong. And then I started watching as you start growing into school, later years in school, and into job situations, and it's not allowed for you to have emotional responses to things. Emotions are not appropriate in the workplace. Emotions are not appropriate when you're dealing with any kind of situation. You need to be logical and you need to be clear, and you need to not have an emotional response, no reacting. Well, it's fascinating because I completely understand that when we're overly emotional, it's usually an indication that we're not grounded. Okay? But I also know that we are living in a time and place in history where the physical human experience is not one that's allowing much room for diversity in our experience just as being. In other words, if you turn to your television and you watch commercials for very long, you'll see 3 to 4 different drugs that are being offered to you to help you with your depression, or to, if you're still feeling anxiety even though you're already taking a depression medicine, this will help you on top of that. If you're having a menstrual cycle and you're having emotions around your menstrual cycle, you can take this for that. And if you're still having more of that, you can take for this for that. And then if you want, we can just cut out altogether your cycle, and you can have it once or twice a year or 4 times a year or whatever. And I'm watching this mentality that it's not okay for us to go the human gamut of emotions, the range of emotions that come with our experience naturally. I don't know if you're making any sense here or not, but I hope I am, because the idea is that I get very frustrated in my work watching people come in and they've got themselves so squished into this what's appropriate box about what it means to be human, that it's like the sandbox keeps getting smaller and smaller for our children and for us as adults and in the workplace and in our lives. And then we can't figure out why we're not happy, why we're depressed, why we don't feel vitality in our lives, where did our life force go, what makes us joyful. And so then we start acting out. And you have deviant behaviors that happen just maybe this mentally or emotionally or thoughts, or, and I say deviant, I mean that loosely. Some people will be more deviant than others, but we start having these bizarre desires to do things that seem way out of the box. And so the pendulum is swinging way over here or swinging way over there. It's either that or we completely begin to shut down our emotions. And if it doesn't make sense logically, we're not listening to what we're feeling. So basically, again, take this back and go, wow, we're living in a time and space where it's really not very acceptable to be who we actually are. Okay? And what we're actually dealing with is, yeah, we've completely put ourselves into the logical left brain yang energy of the masculine perspective, and women are doing it, men are doing it, children are doing it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. We are operating on a large sector of our society as if we are all from a male perspective. And then you have the vibration of different teenage levels and children coming in that are coming in and looking and behaving in an androgynous way, because it's trying to shift the energy back into a balance between divine masculine and divine feminine. Now, with that said, I want to go back to this thought of emotions as being our guidelines for what's really happening in our own personal experience. Our emotions have a vibration, and if we're shutting them off by using